to the On The Slab Horror Show, the show that we bring to you each and every Friday night. King, why do we do it on a Friday night?
Friday night is horror night. Woo!
Absolutely it is. And
Okay, that's it.
we're staying local today with our guest. So I don't know whether you get the reference of the Friday night is horror night. Do you remember when Channel 4 used to show free horror movies at 10 o'clock just after the watershed?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
that's
little
what that
massive.
is.
Yeah.
As you can see there, we're rejoined by the King. It's been a little while.
All good, my friend. How are we doing?
Not too bad.
It's good to have you back.
Yes, I've been doing work, a lot of work, and a lot of gigging, and a lot of music and stuff like that. So yeah, but I had to come back.
Especially for this one. This is a good one.
Absolutely.
And as you can see, our guest here is very famous around Ireland and whatnot, as he's known as the Irish Demonologist. This is Mr. Gavin Canavan. How are you, sir?
Hello, how are things? Everything's good. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for taking the time out of your day to come on. I know we've had our interactions before, but it's great to get you on and have a chat, especially on a show like this.
I know, yeah.
Where else would you expect it? Get started in becoming a demonologist?
Well, it all started when I was, suppose, very young. I was a very, very young, and I was always drawn to paranormal and ghosts and scary TV programs, but I was always more drawn to the likes of demonology, exorcism, and I didn't quite understand what it was, and I didn't know it was for me, and I just thought it was a trend, or I thought it was, you think you're going through a phase. I got through a lot of phases when I was younger. Golf, scuba diving, you can name it, I've done it. So I've always interested in paranormal, and I remember it was about 12. Now you're always in your room and you just mess around and playing, and I was about 12, and I put a little desk together, and I had a fake phone, and I was creating a paranormal thing at that age and didn't even know what it was. Didn't have a clue what I was doing, just acting a bollock space, like,
Yeah.
Had a couple of ghost magazines, and I was the ghost detective. So I started from there. So I started off very young. I joined paranormal teams in my early 20s, I'm 44 now. And the idea was, I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I didn't know nothing about paranormal or ghosts or spirits or any of that jazz, as they say. So I started off with a paranormal team in Wicklow. Then I worked my way up to joining the likes of Irish Ghost Hunters, and they were a massive team. You had to do an interview to get in, you had to go on trial. If there was TV or radio, there was contracts. It was very serious. It's not like it's weird, because when you look at today, every town is 5 or 6 paranormal teams.
Right.
Everybody, it's so big now that people just create teams and they go out and they do their bits and they get their evidence. But back in my day, it was hard to get into a team. There was only 3 or 4 big teams, and you had to work hard to get into them. So when I got into the paranormal world, you do your investigations and you learn as much as you can. So during that progress, I was learning about psychics, mediums, parapsychology. I was getting jack of all trades. I was learning everything. I was really, really enjoying it. I was going on locations. I was meeting loads of nice people, and we were going and we're doing privates and helping people. And as that progressed, I was studying demonology in the background. But back in them days, when you told the paranormal teams or psychics and mediums that you were studying demonology, you were sort of laughed at and slagged, and I got a lot of slagging. And at some point, I was thinking of quitting, but I kept going and going and learning. So basically, I done every course you can think of. I done every demonology course, and I spent years studying demonology. And then when I went and done my first case, I didn't have a clue what I was doing. Then I realised then all the demonology courses in the world meant nothing when you were actually in the house. It meant nothing to me. You could have all the knowledge in the world, but if you're in a house with something dark and you don't know what you're doing, you're doomed. It doesn't make a difference. So at that stage, I realised, I have the education. I know a lot about demonology, but I'm useless. What am I doing? Like, I'm drawn to helping people. I want to help people, but I don't know what I'm doing. So I got my head down and I thought about it for about a year. Was going to give it up? Was it going to continue studying? I was still in the paranormal world at this stage, and I was at a wit's end. So I got now when you're in the world of paranormal, you meet people, you're on Facebook pages, you get links, You're told about certain people. So I was on a chat group, and it was a chat group online years ago, and I was talking about demonology. And all of a sudden, you get a phone call from someone saying, "Yeah, I do demonology over here. Would you like a phone call?" So you start talking to people, and then you meet one person, then a second person, then a third person, then a fourth person. So eventually, I met a man called Philip Oliver, who actually had his own church. He was a priest, and we got chit chatting on the phone. We'd Skype, and I was explaining all the knowledge I had and all the work I was doing and where I was. And he basically said to me, "You're drawn to this work. You've got a bit of education, but you're at a bit of a plateau. You're sort of grounded. You don't know what to do." So he says, "Demonology isn't about, it isn't paranormal," he says. "There's a big difference. Demonology isn't paranormal. Demonology is religious." So I started my religious studies. I gave up the day. I was studying demonology, but I put it to one side and said, demonology isn't going to work unless I draw closer to God, Jesus, religion, get protection. So I start doing more religion, going to mass, building myself up religiously, learning all about the saints. Basically, just doing religion work, talking to a priest, Philip Oliver, every week for hours. And eventually, when I was at a certain stage, I started working cases by myself, and I was able to go back in with a clear head. I knew how to get stuff. I knew how to get rid of stuff. I just knew what I was doing. So there was two Gavins. There was there was Gavin who works in the factory, who doesn't bother anybody, doesn't like drama, doesn't like fighting, just a normal lad. You wouldn't think it. Then when I go into a house, there's a demonologist who's able to step in, become a different person, sense, feel, know what's in the house, have discernment, and know how to get rid of stuff. But
I
it took
suppose
years to get to this stage.
I suppose the way you were saying there, obviously you were reading everything from books.
Yeah,
You can read as
wasn't
many
working.
books as you want, but once you do something in front of you, it's a whole different ball game.
You see, the thing is, after years and years of doing this work, I seem to realize that certain things are meant for people. You're meant to be a demonologist. You're meant to be religious. Some people are meant to be psychics and mediums. Some people, parapsychologists. You're drawn to something for a reason. So when I go into a house now, and there's mediums, if there's psychics, if there's parapsychologists, because I've done all that work in the past, I've done it all. And then I realized while doing all this work, like I used to go to Stansted and learn about mediumship, all the Harry Potter schools. I had to learn everything to know what works for me and what is the truth, if that makes sense. So when
Yeah.
I go into a house and there's mediums, psychics, parapsychologists, I can argue with them. I know for a fact how I work, and I can argue with them because I know where they're coming from. I know how they work.
Yeah.
Instead of being a hypocrite, I can say, "Well, I've done that. I know this. I know that. Let's work this way." So it sort of came to my advantage. So I worked that way for a long time, and then I realized, something. You're going into like ghost hunting shows, and you're doing all this jazz. You're bringing spirits forward in these public investigations. A week later, you're going into people's homes and you're fighting demonic beings, entities, whatever you want to call them. You're trying to get rid of them. But then I realized I was losing my, not mojo. I was losing some of my protection. I didn't feel safe at times. And then I realized you're being a hypocrite. You can't go look for ghosts. You can't go doing this, then a week later getting rid of stuff. It doesn't work.
Mm.
You have to stick to what you're good at and what works for you. Religion works for me. I understand how everything down to a certain amount works. I know how to get rid of stuff. I know why they're there, how they're drawn in. I know the invitation, the law of attraction. I have a good sense of me now. And it took years and years to get there. Like I started off and it was a rocky road. Then I was working with this person, I was doing this, I was changing all the time. It's only the last, say, 10 years that I've just got to a certain point where I know it works now. I know what I'm doing. So
Mm.
when I go into a house, I go in by myself now. I used to go in with my partner. She was a case manager, but your kids and family, she'd be at home now minding the chaps. So it's easier for me to just go off and do it myself. And if I get stuck, I can always just get on the telephone, Skype someone, ring someone for advice. So
Mm.
yeah, everything is going well. I've got to that point, so I'm happy. I know what works and what doesn't work. I know you know, I have a good idea basically.
Gav, can I ask you a couple of things? Because I'm very interested now. I wouldn't know an awful lot about your field and I mean that most respectfully, of course. Um, But would you be working on? I was at you answered about 4 of my questions during all that, so I didn't even need to ask you those. But I'm fascinated by the fact of you found like did you find religion like were you religious at all beforehand or
You see, it's weird because I'm 44 now. I'm doing this 20 years basically. I'm doing this a very long time, demonology. But at the start, I got drawn into circles where I felt comfortable. I felt, yeah, this is for me. I was learning about spirits and spirit guides and healing hands and Reiki and reincarnation. And then when you're working with someone that's so religious that does exorcisms, that's so truthful down to a T, and he's telling you to make it, you need to make a change in your life.
yeah
So by me going more into demonology and religion, it's not like you're turning your back on everybody but you know what's right and what's wrong. In my heart, I knew most of it was wrong. And for me to break that circle and break away from these people just so I can help people is what I done. I know for a fact, after years of study, people say, oh, yeah, well, we believe in reincarnation, we believe in that. Then I know, and I'm not saying I know for a fact, from my theory is I know you've one soul, you've one life. You have to do the best you can in this world. And people will say, well, no, you can do this and you can come back. But at the end of the day, if you actually read the Bible, Jesus didn't turn around and tell people, I tell you what, go out there, do what you want, hurt, kill, whatever you want to do. But it's okay. Just repent and you can come back. He never mentioned
yeah
reincarnation. He said you repent now and you forgive people. You get on because you've only one chance, and that's what made me tick. If he's not in the Bible saying go out there and do what you want, you can come back 3 or 4 times. You see where I'm coming from? It's
yeah
all about repent, forgive, because you have one chance and that's it. If you screw up and you don't repent or you don't, or you know what I mean? If you don't sort of try to forgive yourself and other people, it might come back to haunt you.
yeah
Why take the risk? Is it really worth the risk? Like, and then when you get into demonology and you start studying how, demons work, how control works, you get more into them. You can get into sort of how cults work, Illuminati, New World Order. You get into all that weird stuff. You understand there's a hidden agenda in the world as well. You know what I
yeah
mean? It's not a safe place. You can turn on the radio and you listen to music now. All these celebrities, they'll even tell you they're wearing upside down crosses. They're doing rituals at Super Bowls. It's okay now. So look at the Olympics. They're mocking Christ. They're mocking the feast. The Last Supper. Like they're mocking everything, and they don't seem to give a shit. Like it's kind of come to a stage where I believe that if you're religious, you're going to be pushed into a corner and you won't be wanted. The
yeah
world
It's
is the
getting
world is going in a very bad direction,
it's getting to
and you
that
don't
point
have to
as
be a
it is,
religious
really.
demonologist to say that.
well that's
It's getting
true
to a point where cancel culture is canceling anything they don't want anyway. So
Yeah, sure. There was a Brazilian, I think it was, at the Olympics, and he had a picture of Jesus and he surfboarded himself. You come in with that, you're disqualified. That's what you're dealing with, like, you know.
it's crazy. Like
but
you're not given the chance to express yourself at all, really.
No, they're really.
here's the
Yeah,
sorry for cutting across you Gav
you're
um
horrid.
like I mean yeah there's a lot of I suppose you say what would you say hatred of religion right now
Yeah,
but I was like obviously I was brought up a Catholic okay but I don't like you see how extreme some Islam is and all that kind of
yeah,
stuff. I know like we had the Crusades and all that kind of stuff, but these guys are still bringing it forward today, and I think I have an issue with radicalized religion, I suppose you could say,
mm,
and I know there's aspects of that in every religious thing, but I still don't think that Catholicism is as bad as Islam, or you know what I'm saying, like
yeah. But you see, I think, like, if you go back to the early Bible when Jesus was sort of preaching about love, life, and peace and how shit worked, and then of course, like the Catholic Church as well. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not a hypocrite. I understand as well that the Catholic Church, you know, they like I don't believe that they talk about religion. Don't get me wrong, they go to mass and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, if you go from where Jesus taught his religion to what an institution does, it sort of waters religion down as well. Don't get me
yeah,
wrong. I go to mass, I get communion, I do all that jazz. I'm religious, but when it comes to the Vatican and Rome, well, I distance myself a bit. I wouldn't get involved with that. To me, when a religion has enough money to feed a third world country, and they don't.
And they don't. Yeah.
That tells me something. And if a priest, if a priest molests a child, he shouldn't be a priest. He should be shipped off to another country. He should be jailed. He shouldn't.
Yeah.
If you molest a child or break the law, as a priest, you should be deflocked. You shouldn't be a priest anymore. If a guard goes out and robs a car, if he gets caught, he's not a policeman.
Mm.
He's not a cop anymore. You should lose that badge you have, and that goes as well as the church as well. And because the church is so big, there's corruption in the church. You
Oh
know what I
yeah.
mean? But the thing is, I don't get mad into that. I don't get too into it because it's everywhere and there's nothing you can do. Don't get me wrong. But I sort of do my own thing. I have my own faith. I'm more Christian and Catholic. I take the best from both worlds and I use it for myself. Does that make sense?
100%.
I see myself as a Christian, but I like going to mass. I like getting communion.
Yeah.
But that's as far as it goes. And then if I get a case where, like, I'm a religious demonologist, I have to know my limitations. So when paranormal teams call me, they've reached their limitations basically. They know it's dark, it's dangerous. Let's get a religious demonologist. I go in and I try to get rid of it, try to do the best I can. If I can't do it, and it turns out to be an exorcism, I step away immediately. I give it to the church because I know my limitations. Experts in the church, like exorcist priests, they do that for a reason, and I let them take over. That's how I work as well. Everybody's limitations. Everybody has a role to play. Don't try to do something you can't do, because what I learned at the start, I used to love getting cases and going to haunted homes by myself, you know. And then as you grow into it and you learn the dangers and what you can and can't do, it's frightening.
Yeah.
So you have to, like, even like with an exorcist priest, like, if an exorcist priest is saying, not in conversation, but he's in the middle of an exorcism, he has to know what he can and can't do, and he knows that he can't get into dialogue too much with the possessed, the demoniac, because if he gets drawn into dialogue, the devil has power. He can overtake the priest instantly. It becomes a battle of will versus will. The devil's will, or the hierarchy demon's will get into that priest, would eat inside him and know his sins, know everything about him. And people think it's all about praying. It's not. And when priests finish exorcisms, they could be done. They could be broken. Most priests that go in to do exorcism are amazing people. They're so full of love, light, and peace. And then when someone come out, they're broken. Like, priests go in that have never known hate or anger or violence, come out knowing hate and anger and violence, and it breaks them. That's why some priests only do 5 or 6 exorcisms. They don't do that many proper exorcisms because it can damage them. Like, it's up to the priest as well, but it's when you get into studying exorcism and listening to cases and reading about cases, it's terrifying, to be honest. I would never like to do it. That is the truth,
Would
and I
it,
would never do it. No.
would would there be many steps past going, say, to you before you get a priest involved?
You see, how I work now is when I go in, when I get the email, I sit down, I look through the email, and sort of figure out, is it real? Is it legit? And I ring the people, the clients, and I try to talk to them and figure out how it came in and what's happening. And if I believe that it is like a proper haunting, I might take the case, yeah. But then when I go into the home, you go into the home and you try to sit down, you talk to the people, you do your interview, you have your case file, and then you walk around the home, you get a feel for the home. You try to figure out what's caused it and what's brought it in. And if you sense anything upstairs or you feel anything heavy, you sort of know yourself. It comes with experience. But in not all cases I finish. It's very hard to get rid of stuff, believe it or not. I have 3 or 4 cases I can't do. I hand to the church or I ask them to get the local priest in because you're dealing with it. We're dealing with dark angels and dark entities. You know what I mean? Like, so when I go to home and I feel confident and I'm going against something and I'm praying, and sometimes you might hear your name, you might get scratched or punched, you might get a nightmare before you even go into the case, a warning not to do it. You might hear a voice saying, "I'm going to kill your kids. I'm going to kill you," and it happens all the time. But so when I go in and halfway during the case, if I feel confident, I pray over the people as well to try and move demonic attachments. And I feel that the situation is pretty good and it's under control. What I do then is I sit everybody down, I take out certain books I have, and I give them all books. And I talk to them. Because the idea is it's not about clearing a home as well. It's about teaching people how to put up their own protection, how to do this themselves. So I bring them around with me and they do it with me because, like it says in the Bible, if more than one more than three people pray to Jesus, he appears, he's there, like he's always helping. So the more people that pray, the stronger it is. And because it is their home, their domain, they have the right. They have the right to pray in their own home. They have the authority. So we teach them a small bit at the start, and then I feel confident they're okay. We go around the house, we do it together. I'll get to do them the water. I'll get them doing burning holy incense. Like we do it together, and I teach them how to do it. Then when I'm finished, I advise to get a local priest in to say a mass and bless the home, just in case I miss something. Because sometimes it can take 6 months to get rid of stuff. Sometimes it can take years. It's not magic. And unfortunately, with people, a couple of my cases, not going to get into it. People just, they lose interest after a while. They lose that fight. You go in 4 or 5 times. You try to tell them this is how it is. You have to keep going. Before you know it, they're bringing in another paranormal thing. They're bringing psychics in, and all your work is just undone. You know
Undone.
what I mean? Like they're bringing different people and healers, witchcraft people, and you're like, you can't do that. If you're going to work with one religion, clearing a home, work with one religion. Don't be
Mm-hmm.
hypocrite and use witchcraft and Christian and religion. And it doesn't work that way. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
You open doors by doing that. Law of invitation, law of interaction. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Was it? I know obviously some of that statement that you made there, where you go in and you walk around the home, because obviously, as I said in the intro, we had our own meeting before, well before this, when you came out to my house, um, in Greystones when I lived there, um, and I can confirm pretty much everything he said is what happened that night. We sat down, done a case or done a recording of what was going on in the house. We went outside. He wandered around. He blessed things. Then he brought us in, and he was lighting incense. He was splashing stuff with holy water and stuff. Uh, I don't know what was the best way to say it is, but
Marking
yeah,
his territory.
I can actually confirm like that we watched him do it from the house, like himself and his other half when they arrived. Um, and yeah, everything kind of calmed down after that for us anyway.
Mm. Sometimes it doesn't count, and sometimes it gets worse and worse and worse. But that the thing is, you see, people don't understand as well. Like I try to get everything done in a day or two, and the reason is not because I like to go in and I Superman and go in and do it fast and get out. That's not how it works. I like to get it done quick and simple and fast. And the reason is most of my travel I pay myself. I don't charge people. I work free of charge, fully confidential. So if I have to go to Cork, that's out of my own pocket. I might book into a hotel down there or B&B. I don't
Mm.
ask for anything. The other time people try donation stuff, but I hate taking it because it's like you're only here for a short time, so why not make a difference and do something? Sorry, do something, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I
So
ask
yeah,
you? I ask you a quick question, Gavin. Um, you know the way you're fighting demons, okay? Like, do we not have
bollocks.
angels looking after us? If you get me, like, can they not help in the fight, so to speak?
So so how it is you see, I'll explain how it works in my theory.
Mm.
So the way I see it is so there's nine orders of angel. So you start at the bottom and you work up. So you could have angels, archangels, thrones, dominions, principalities. You know what I mean? And it works all the way up to cherubim and seraphim, all the highest up. And they all have jobs and they all have meaning for what they do. So you have nine orders of angels, you have low angels, and you have high ones that are really, really strong. So what happens is when God created the world, he never introduced himself to the angels he created, never showed his face, because if he showed his face, they would never disobey him. They would follow him to the ends of the world. So human beings got tested in the garden with an apple. Angels got tested. So Jesus infused these angels with power and gifts. They were pure spirit. They had powers, education, the wisdom given to them. So when a person that a spirit has that much power and has that much education and everything, the minute that spirit makes a decision, that decision is made. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It doesn't go back in that decision. So God says to his angels, okay, I've created the earth, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to come back and I'm going to look after these people. I'm going to be a savior. I'm going to bring religion to the world. And he's explaining how he might be crucified, he'd be tortured. Some of the angels just could not get it into the head. because they seen human beings as just meat, and they didn't like the idea that God had created angels to protect human beings and basically not worship them, but look after them. They're your responsibility. You must love these human beings like you love me. You must protect them with your life. We, in God's eyes, believe it or not, human beings are above angels
Right.
because we're human. We have emotions. We don't have the edge. You know what I mean? Like, we're fragile. He put us above them. So most of the angels, not all the angels. So say about a third of the angels says, "This is bullshit. We don't like the idea that we have to bow to these creatures. We don't like the idea that you're becoming one of them. We're pure spirit. Why would you want to become like them?" Now this is the breaking point. So Jesus explains everything. God explains everything to these spirits, and the pride, the rebellion. They think they're better than us. You like Lucifer thinks he can be up there with God, and he starts it's just pride and rebellion kicks in. They see weakness, they see this, they see that, they argue. And then Jesus turns around, God turns around and says, I tell you what, he says, when I die, my mother Mary on earth, I am the king of heaven. She will be the queen of heaven. She will be all over all of you. She will be over you. And that's a tip that they didn't want to bow to a woman as well. They didn't like the idea they did bow to a woman. And that's why in some of the prayers it says the Virgin Mary stood in the head of Satan, crushed the head of Satan. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
so they fell. Well, as a third of the angels fell down to earth. When you fall, when you're in there with God, you've God's grace, you've God's power and love all around you. But the further you fall away from God, the darker you get because you lose that grace. So you fall down to earth to become the opposite of what they were created for. But they still have their power. They still have everything God gave them because
Yeah.
God gave everybody free will. And by God taking away the angels' powers, that's taking away the free will as well. Free will is free will. He gives them the right to make decisions. So he tested the angels and they fell. So that's what happens. So you've got these like low, we call them, well, I call them devils, demons and devils, we call them. And the simple reason is because of the hierarchies are the really, really powerful demons. Devils, we call them. They're office workers. The lower demons, the smaller angels that fell, they're office workers. No, they're factory workers and you have office workers. So the small demons are factory workers. The bigger demons are office workers. They're the lads in charge that pull the strings, that organize everything. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So when you get a
Yeah.
haunt in a home and you open doors using your Ouija board of the occult, you're drawn in these little low demons, smaller demons, but they're still angels of power. And these are lads that do the oppression, the obsession, the infestation. These lads are haunt the shit out of you. They try to break you down to possess you, to take your free will, you know? So that's what these lads do, but every once in a while, you go through all the cases of exorcism of people died in Annalise, the Amityville horror. You know what I mean? When the Exorcist, so when
Hmm.
stuff like that happens, when people actually die, that's when the hierarchy demons come into the game. When they come into a haunting, it's game over. These
Yeah.
boys know they're doomed, they know where they're going, and they disobey as much as they can. They will go out to kill people. And if you did not have a guardian angel, you would be killed. So most people who use the occult use Ouija boards. Sometimes you get intuition, I shouldn't do this, I don't feel safe. Something's telling me not to do it. It's your guardian angel. But because of curiosity and human will, we just go ahead and do it anyway. So demons and devils are around us. They're everywhere because it says in the Bible the devil is the prince of this world. He owns this world basically. It's his. But God is like a superhero. The devil is the Joker. God is Batman. So God can't do anything at the moment because your free will has invited these things into your life. Does that make sense? So you've invited these demons into your home. So when you pray and ask for help, that's when God steps in. And as well, when you get into demonology, it gets complicated. It all becomes legal rights and stuff. So when you have a haunt and you're praying in your home and your guardian angel and say your good angels are fighting, it's not just the fight in the house. It becomes a courtroom. You have bad angels fighting their case like two barristers in a courtroom, fighting over legal rights. Because that's what it is. It's legal rights. I have the right to be here. We've been invited in. We're staying. I understand you've been invited in. You have the right to be here. But this person now is repenting. And by repenting, you're opening doors. God is saying, He is asking for help. He's repenting of all his sins. He's renounced everything he's done. He's asking for help. So now we're here to help him. And that's when it starts off. That's when the fight starts. It might take a while to get rid of. That's a simple way of explaining it. It sounds complicated. Sometimes when I'm doing podcasts, I have ideas how to say stuff, but sometimes it just comes out a bit weird, if that makes sense. Sometimes trying to get stuff out, but I don't want to say, I don't want to make it complicated. I'm trying to make it
Yeah.
easy to understand, but and then of
And that's
course you have
appreciated, believe me.
and then you have, of course, you have demons that don't want to leave. Hierarchy demons. They set fire to your house. They kill your dogs. Demonic siege. It'll rain rocks in your house. Water will run through the walls. Like if you look at a proper haunting, you use a Ouija board. And this idea of new age, oh, use a Ouija board and you bring the planchette to goodbye and it's done. It has to leave. Bullshit. The minute you use a Ouija board, and if you're unfortunate, you open the door, that spirit steps forward. It's done. It's there. Game over. So what happens is you use a Ouija board, you talk to someone, it pretends to be a child, it pretends to be a lost soul, you know? So what happens is it communicates through the board for a while. Everything feels safe. The child feels safe. You know, they get a relationship. They feel comfortable with each other. They start asking more questions. The spirit might talk to the board saying, oh, you look good today. Yeah, I like that jeans. I like that top. Nice haircut. Are you looking well? It draws in. It works off human emotion. And then one day you go out your car and you've got a flat tire. Say, balls, flat tire. It's going to cost me £70, €70. So you go and you fix your flat tire. Next day, you have another flat tire. That's another 70, €80. Just go on for a while. Little things will break. And the idea is these things are in your house already. They're watching you. They're working with your emotions. They're studying everything. They're standing beside you. You know, so what they're trying to do is they're trying to study the family. They're looking for weak links because these are experts. These things are like special forces of the supernatural world. These are special forces. They're our spirits. They're standing there watching you, reading your auric field, reading your vibrations, knowing what frightens you. They're watching you. So eventually they sit back and, you know, your plumbing breaks. You get a plumber. Plumber fix it anyway. Breaks again, he comes back in, can't find the problem. You have another flat tire. Your radio breaks. And this goes on and on. The family are getting emotionally drained at this point. It hasn't shown itself as a black shadow. That comes last. It depends. Actually, I say it comes last, but sometimes it comes first. It depends on the spirit. Every spirit has a way he works. The higher the intelligence, the more complicated the infestation. The more complicated it is, the smartness is shown. Written letters and stuff moved around the house. So what happens is, anyway, I'll get back to my story. So the wife is arguing with the husband, the kids are arguing, there's flat tires, the kettles are breaking. You know, this goes on and on. And the idea is it emotionally drains the family's money. It makes them fight with each other over stupid stuff. It's in the background influencing your psychic behavior. And you don't even realize it's there. It's isolating each person at a time. They'll argue and fight. A wife will come home and she can't find her wedding ring. It'll be dumped in the toilet. And they argue with the husband, and the husband argues back. The husband says, I don't know what's going on. I'm not here anymore. I haven't seen or felt anything. And then it might show itself slowly to one of the children and look for a weak link. It show itself to the wife and then disappear. The wife blaming the husband. Yeah, there's definitely something in the house. There's something black. Husband's home. House is fine. You're losing your marbles. And eventually, the family will start to break down. Money wise, they lose money. Money will disappear. They'll have bad luck. Children will get sick. Dogs will get sick. Vet fees, hospital fees. You know, and then eventually the home will get a bit colder. The energy will be sucked out of them. They're tired all day. They're cranky. And this is all and they're watching it. And they're going, fine. We'll pick the young lad. He's emotionally unstable. He's breaking. So then they'll start. The infestation stage is when they're haunting the home. Now they'll say, let's haunt him. And that's is when they'll isolate the young lad. They'll put thoughts into his head in his own voice. He'll start to think his family hates him. He'll start lashing out. He'll get angry. You know, he might self-harm. Like, you know, that's the saying, oh, if we can't possess you, we'll get you to kill you. You know what I mean? That's how they break down the family. And then at the end, it will show itself. Radiators will disappear and appear upstairs. Your fridge will break. Your fridge will disappear and go out into the garden. That is the difference between fallen angels and spirits. spirits in a home that don't move on might lift the bag of sugar. And they've proven this. No, they might lift the bag of sugar, they might slam a door. The oppression might be a little bit. Human emotion, human psychic might lift a pan, and that's proven through parapsychology. You might have the power to lift or move a cup through your psychic if you're psychically unstable, you're emotional, like poltergeist activity, you put it down to.
Yeah.
But demons and devils, these boys have the ultimate power. They can make it rain rocks in your house. They can make it rain inside your house. They can set fire to your house. They can burn you, strangle you, drag you around the house, rape you, beat you, strangle your dogs, your pets. And I've had that in a case before, and I'll tell you about that in a few minutes. And then it's so frightening. I don't like getting in too much because people are going, oh, that's it doesn't happen all the time. It's called demonic siege, you know. And another thing that I discovered down the line, and this is the frightening part of doing cases. 3 cases I remember, and people are strange. They get broken as well. So I'd done a case down the country, and it was a good case. I was doing well. The house is clear. I prayed over everybody, and the house is beautifully done. But what happens is post-traumatic stress. You know, like soldiers get PST. Is that what it's called?
PTSD.
Yeah, PTSD.
Is a PTSD. So I think it's post something stress, post-traumatic stress. Am I saying that right?
Post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I cleared the house and the family outside. The house is lovely. It's smelling lovely. It's changed. The energy's changed. It's bright. Try to bring them into the house. Come into the house. They remember everything bad that's ever happened to them. They break out crying around. They won't step foot in the house. They're terrified. It's a lovely house. All their nappies are in the house. The kids' toys are in the house. You won't go back in the house. They're roaring their eyes out. They're physically shaking. They won't go into the house. So they have to go stay in their friend's house. And then you have counsellors ringing up. What's the story? Blah, 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 blah. Is this real? Are you making it up? I said, no, it's real. Ask the priest. We got a priest in. Ask the priest. These people are traumatized. The house is fine. It's not haunted. It's fixed. But because of what they went through, they cannot go into their house. So you're going to find them in their house. Post-traumatic stress. They just can't relive. It's like recall memory, I call it. To remember everything that's happened. And that can be a dangerous thing too. Because if you go back into a house and you've that much fear, you might open the door by mistake. Most of the time it doesn't happen. So it just, sometimes after a case, you ring them, you talk to them. I get Philip to do Bible studies with them. We'll chat to them, we'll pray with them, we'll teach them how to pray. Sometimes it's just not enough. They can't deal with the stress for what they went through in their home, and the kids, for broken people. Scars are there. So the counsellors ring you so they get a house. Next case I done, I'll never forget this case. They're good friends of mine. I'm not going to say what it is. So they move into a council house. There's writing on the walls from a different religion. I'm not going to name religions here because I'm not here. You know,
No, we're not going to bash somebody.
No, I'm not going to bash. But I will say it was more voodoo. Hoodoo, maybe. Voodoo's a religion. Hoodoo was the magic. I think it was more hoodoo. So they're seeing shadows in this stage because something's already in the home. Whatever family are in the home have left something there. So it's not like a normal home. This shit's in the house already. So it's active straight away, like. So I tell them, paint the walls. Paint the walls, paint your house. Clean up the house. Open all the windows. The thing, what can happen as well is clean up all the clutter. Paint the house, bright colours. Change the vibrations in the house. Become positive, open the windows. By changing the vibrations and painting the house, you can change energy in the house. And that is the truth. That actually works as well. That can get rid of a haunt by just painting, cleaning up your house, making it bright, changing the vibrations, changing everything. So to do all that, and the house is fine for a few days. And then it happens. It starts talking to them. And I'm not going to go into what it says, but it talks and talks and talks. It talks that fucking much. This woman's broken like. So I go into the home. It was hard to do it. Like, I even got Philip on the line at one stage to pray with me over the phone. I got them to pray with me. So we're moving attachment. The woman's hopping all over the children and praying over. Most people might think say, "Oh, it's exorcism." Not exorcism, just an attachment. So it took me about an hour praying over this woman to move. Gone, but it's still in the house. I pray in the house. I give her socks. House is fine. I feel good. Leave. 2 weeks later, it's back. I said, what is going on? Go back into the house. Do it all over again. Feeling uneasy in the house. It's not attacking me. It's not showing itself, but I know it's there. And it's frightening. Going to the room, my heart's going, can't breathe, can't can't relax, can't read the words on the page, can't see the words I'm reading, can't get them out. Try to say a prayer in my head, forget the fucking words, panicking myself, leave, go downstairs, have a cup of tea, relax, get back into it, back up, back into it, grand well. So done that, house felt fine. Then it gets worse and worse and worse. Get a priest in 3 times, like this case nearly broke me. Like, get the priest in 3 times. Priest goes into the home. He gives it socks, proper socks, like done properly. 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later, I'm at home in bed. She rings me up, like terrified, absolutely terrified. Like the skin, the hair on my hand is standing up here. I'm at a loss, like I'm panicking myself. What is going on? It's a Thursday evening. I tell you what I said. I pray on the phone with her. I set up a Skype meeting with Philip to pray on the phone with her. I beg her, I'll be there. I'll be there tomorrow evening. Hold on one day. Just hold on. She feels fine, feels relaxed. Next day, she's not there. She's in a mental asylum. Signed herself in because she attacked a child. Thought she was going to kill the
Oh
child.
God.
She
Fucking
locks
hell.
herself in a fucking mental asylum in the hospital. She's in there for 6 months. Can't get at her. Can't get near her. Don't know what to do. The young lad is only 18. He's locked in the house by himself at this time. He kills the fucking guinea pigs. Kills them. Fucking kills the guinea pigs. The only thing she wanted was the guinea pigs to be safe. He killed them out of spite. So I go into the house and I give her fucking socks. I mean, I give her my heart and soul. I give it everything. Philip is ringing her from the hospital from America and he's teaching her Bible studies. He's teaching her. The doctors are doing everything on it. A couple of months later, she's released. She got rid of it herself. She got rid of it. She became that spiritually strong. She got rid of it. She fought it off in that hospital by herself. She fought it off. She left that hospital a free woman, went back home, couldn't go into the house. Post-traumatic stress, terrified.
Jesus.
So she managed to get a house a couple of doors down. She moved in. She got a dog. The young lad moved back in, and they're living happy now. And every once in a while, she'll ring me up to see how I am. We're good friends with that family. Like, if she comes across someone that needs help, she'll give them to me, and I'll go and help them. So yeah, that woman saved herself by becoming so religious and relying on Jesus Christ. When she was in a home with voices talking to them, telling her they were going to kill her and kill her son, that we're going to kill her pets and kill the pets.
Jesus.
And the young lad was in the house by himself as well. In it by himself. God love him. Sleeping in
So
the house
Yeah.
if he wanted.
so he was
But
at
I wake
their
up,
he was at their mercy, basically.
but he was a strong young lad. He was a good young lad. He went in, me and him got rid of it. I was praying with him and showing him what to do. I was giving him prayers to say. He was a good young lad and he done it.
Yeah.
Today they're happy. They're spiritual free. See, the thing is, God allows stuff to happen to people. He allows it to happen to a certain point. That when these people are free to become religious, they rely on God. That's the thing when it comes to healing and religion. You know, you're going to pay you like some cases I get where people have tried to heal people and prayed over them or Reiki, and then they're seeing and hearing stuff. Like at the end of the day, I done Reiki years ago when I was starting off, and we're not gods. Who are we to heal people with our hands? We're not gods. What happens is you're relying on yourself. You're relying on people to heal people and take charge. Jesus Christ is the only person that heals. No one gets healed from cancer from Reiki. You know what I mean? Like the only person that heals in this world is Jesus Christ and religion. You pray in his name, you heal people. You can't heal people by using spirit guides. I tell people as well, and I don't care who argues me with this, spirit guides are fallen angels. And I tell people, and they'll argue with me, and I tell you what then. What is wrong with your guardian angel? You all believe in guardian angels, but you all have spirit guides. Is your guardian angel broken? Why would God give you a guardian angel that is more powerful than the devil and any demon because he's the grace from God and he's more powerful and he protects you? Is he broken that he has to give you 5 or 6 spirit guides to do the work for him? Bullshit. Either one or the other. See, the thing with religion is the devil's got his side, Jesus is one side. So whatever religion does, he'll do the opposite. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah.
And that's the way it is. Now, people might listen to say, oh, he's wrong, he's wrong. Yeah, but listen, it's my opinion. I'm not here to change anybody,
Exactly.
tell people what to do. But when I go into work, it's my way or the highway. And that's how I work.
Yeah.
I'll be respectful enough, but when it comes down to someone's in life-threatening situation, I'll only use religion. And I'll remove everything else from the home if it's not going to work. And that is the truth. Like, and that's how I work.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm wrong, but at least I tried to do it the right way. That's
Well, I
the
mean,
way
you're being brought in to help people,
yeah.
so surely they'd have to accept the way that you're going to do it, whether they agree with it or not.
But listen, don't get me wrong, I got friends that are mediums and psychics, and to me, they're pretty good at what they do. But they don't do this work and they leave that to me. They have their own belief system, I have my belief system. But if I'm in a haunted house and people are doing something wrong, or they've gone to, say, a medium that isn't as qualified as someone else,
Mm.
and they brought something in that way, then I'll step in with my information, what I know, and I'll do it my way to get rid of it. Like, I'm not out to change the world. Like, I don't do paranormal anymore. I haven't done it for years. I gave it all up. I only work with people that need help. And that's my job. I'm not here to tell people what they can't do. You know what I mean? Like, but if I'm in the house and if someone has got a bad reading and got this or doing witchcraft, I'll tell them what I think of it and try my best to help. You know, you have people ring you up like saying, yeah, listen, I'm a pagan and I worship the moon and I do this and do that, but there's a dark entity in my house. Like, can you get rid of it? I said, well, you're worshiping another religion and you want another religion to come in and do. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like, it's not going to work. Like, doors are open and whatever you've done, you've done. Not all pagans here. I'm not saying, I'm just using it as one case. There could be pagans never had any trouble out there to do their own thing, but
Mm.
this one I brought in a dark entity. But she wanted me to come in and clear it, but she wasn't going to change her ways, and that's not going to work. You know,
Well,
that's true.
let me just before we wind down, because I don't want to keep you all night. You mentioned a couple of obviously very famous cases there, obviously being the Amityville Horror and stuff.
And Elise,
Um,
German girl, yeah.
and then obviously the big one that obviously came out in terms of Hollywood was The Conjuring,
You know
which was the
something?
Perrin family.
I was annoyed with the Conjuring. I do like demonology and other demonologists. I have respect for them, but at the end of the day, that film caused me a lot of hardship. It really did. I done demonology for years before I moved to Mom. And every 2 minutes I had kids ringing me, I want to be demonologist, I want to do this, can you train me? Can you do this? I'm trying to tell them it's either for you or it's not for you. Like, you don't just want to do something because you watch a movie.
Yeah.
And they hounded
Um,
me. Then when part two came out, they hounded me again, you know.
so
If
no,
I
but
could go
in terms,
back in time, I wouldn't do it. Demonology to me is a personal blessing. It's a blessing to help people, but it's a curse. It takes a toll on your mental health, man. It takes a toll on everything, really. It's you're constantly thinking about it, working. That's why I switch off now. I don't do anything. I don't do cases for months because I don't get cases that often. I get maybe a case once every 2, 3 months. So, but it's weird with cases because you don't get one case. They all come in threes and
Oh
fours.
yeah.
And that's the most annoying thing. Get one case, you get two more the next day. Like, but
Jesus.
yeah, you get hounded by stuff. You feel cold all the time when you go into people's homes and shit follows you home as well. Like, you know, you're
yeah,
constantly because the work you do, I feel you're attacked more than anybody else. You know the
Mm.
kind of way, like it's like yeah, I can tell you some scary stories about being pulled out of bed and fucking windows explode, and that was in my old house years ago. And you know, see, when I started off, like I say, I'm a human being. I've made loads of mistakes in my life. When I started off doing demonology and stuff, I was doing wrong demonology, like the Warrens there. I was see the thing is that you bring up the conjurement, right? I was doing demonology, and I was studying the like said the demonologist as well, and I got it into my head years and years ago. You know, so maybe they have a maybe they have a maybe they're onto something here. Maybe the Warrens have something here. You know, they take these objects from people's homes. They get them prayed over by a priest, and they put them here, and they're safe. And at one stage, I had a spare room full of Ouija boards, haunted mirrors, haunted dolls, voodoo kids from Louisiana full of blood, bones, and gopher dust, you name it, witchcraft for killing and hurting people. That's what they were trying to be used for. And I had that much stuff that my windows exploded. I was living
Jesus.
by myself. My windows exploded. There was shit walking in the house. It pinned me to the bed when I was praying, pinned me down to the bed and said to me, we are invited here, and there's nothing you can do about it. And pulled me out of the bed and slapped me against the wall. I had that for about 6 months. I was broken. If I would have went any longer, I would have been taken over and possessed. But I was talking to Philip, and I was reading a lot of religious books. And what I discovered was God is very powerful. Haunted objects can be destroyed. You don't have to put them in a museum. Will tell you that any object can be brought out, prayed over, it has to be prayed over. Holy water and holy oil has to be poured on it. You say certain prayers over and you burn it or you bury it and you put the ashes into a river. That's how you get rid of a haunted highway. That lesson was given to me, not to keep haunted objects. 3 carloads of haunted objects up to, I'm not going to give a location, where it's burnt and buried and prayed over. And I had thousands of pounds worth of Ouija boards and voodoo kits, stuff, collector's items that people had given me from cases, and I destroyed them all. Everything was burnt that day, so I could change and protect myself. But the idea of people keeping haunted objects now and putting them on Facebook Live and look at the dolls and look at this, it's complete fucking, it's irresponsible. It's
Playing
a
with
joke.
fire, yeah.
The thing is, what I've learned when I was in paranormal, it was more of a hobby. People do take it serious, but it felt like a weekend warrior. And some paranormal teams are excellent. They do so much work; it's brilliant. Some of them are just out for thrill seeking. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to demonology, it's life and death. I've had people tell me they're going to walk their kids in front of fucking cars. That's how dangerous and serious it is. So it's not a hobby. This is a full-time job, even though we don't get paid for it. And to be honest, like, yeah. I do my best. I get a lot of phone calls from America because it turns out I'm probably well known in America than in Ireland, because I've got so many contacts over there that if you were looking for an exorcist priest in America, they ring me. Then I have to ring someone else over there and still have fucking Skype calls and all. It's crazy. And then you have Americans fucking headhunting you, trying to get you to do fucking TV shows and all. We'll fly to Beverly Hills, we'll fly to LA, we'll put you up for 6 months, we'll pay you this, pay that. And they're doing it like, and I'm going, yeah, but I'm Irish, man. Like, we work from week to work with wages. We've mortgages and bills to pay. I can't just leave my family, fly to LA for 6 months and hope to God you sell that. That's not how it works, Pay me up front. Only messing. I turned it down to my family. I wouldn't do it. But
the point there that I was bringing up, obviously about the movie, I know you said it caused you more issues because everyone thought it was the new cool thing to do. In terms of how that movie actually played out, would that be realistic wise with the oppression?
No, it's 90% Hollywood. The story might be real. Read the book, it's completely different story. Like the Warrens went in there, they done a little bit and left. You know what I mean? Like, they just sold the case for it.
On 4 occasions.
Yeah, they left. Some of them cases, after you get into something like, what I like about the Warrens is the education, educating people. They're giving you, like the Conjure movie could be 80% wrong, 20% right. But if you look at when they're doing the clap, and remember the woman appears on the stairs and stuff, that could be oppression. That could be in your head. You could be hearing that noise, so it can happen down to a certain extent, to a certain degree. Not a kind of way. But if you go into the Conjuring 3, where the devil made me do, where the young lad killed someone, like half of that story is based on truth, and the young lad went to jail and all that. It does happen. But another half of it's Hollywood, where a witch is fighting a witch, and it's. I don't understand why they don't. If they made it 100% true, it would be more scary because it is true.
Yeah.
Like, when I grew up watching like the likes of a Paranormal Witness. We are sitting there going, holy shit. It's people telling their stories with a film in the background where they're talking through what really happened. That is terrifying stuff. That is most terrifying stuff, and it frightens me because it's true real than any horror movie. But one thing I learned from most of the Americans is that most of us just show Ouija boards in the occult, and people just get up and leave homes as well, which is wrong. You should try to clear a house if someone's going to move into it,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everything with a pinch of salt, you know what I mean?
Although I knew that it was going to be over dramatized anyway, but I meant in terms of the way you see it possessing, tormenting the family.
Yeah. I've done this 20 years, man. I've only seen tips of exorcism where the oppression very bad and it could take. Never seen exorcism, and I don't want to because I find it hard enough to do this work emotionally at times. You know what I mean? Like you enter a room where someone's fully possessed, where a demon's actually in that person. When you see that person's eyes, man, you lose part. You lose part of yourself, man. I used to tell you that you're not supposed to see that. You know what I mean? Like
I'm gonna ask you a quick one, Gavin. Sorry, because we're a film show primarily. What, in your opinion, was the film that kind of gave the closest account of what you do, or what you're involved in? that you know of.
Sorry, could you say it again slowly? The
So,
connection.
what movie that you know of would have been the closest to the real thing?
The thing is weird because sometimes you'd rather the shadows, you'd rather the house move around. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's it. But when you go into people's homes, man, it's isolation. It's worse than movies. Is when children are by themselves and they're drawing pictures of happening. They're talking about when someone's telling them, go downstairs and drown your little brother. Go on, stab the cat. It's fun. That is terrifying, and the parents can't do nothing because it's not generally going.
Mm.
Like people don't understand. You use a Ouija board, you do the occult. It's all fun and games. You go home. Sometimes you're by yourself in the home. You're in bed by yourself. That's when it attacks. It attacks you by yourself. It attacks your mind. It frightens the fucking shit out of you because it reads your auric field. It reads your vibration. It goes like when people go into a home and you're saying, and you go in, you're listening, you hear. That's not just a spirit tapping. It's done on purpose. It's done to read you. If that spirit knows that that frightens you, it's gonna bring that right up 100-fold. It's gonna fucking terrify you. If it knows spiders fighting you, you're gonna dream of spiders.
Mm.
You know what I mean? It works off your emotions. Like it's weird. Like if you're a positive person and your auric field is bubbly and goldy and colourful, that's brilliant because it's positivity fights off the negative. The more positive you are, the better outcome you have. Light attracts light, dark attracts dark. You're a horrible little. I'm not going to curse her. You're a horrible person. You beat animals and you're nasty and you're horrible. You're just not a nice person. Like I don't want to say scumbag, but you're fucking horrible. You're a horrible bastard.
Yeah.
Your auric field, your vibrations change. When your vibrations change, your auric field turns grey and dark. That attracts darkness. That attracts spirits into your life. If you can't control yourself, something else will control you. You know what I mean? Like, and
Yeah.
that is the truth. People drink a lot. People do drugs a lot. There's always something there pushing that and pushing that and pushing it. Like I'm doing this 20 years now, and I'm working on my own kind of like people. I've been trained and taught with infestation, stage one, oppression, stage two, obsession, possession, perfect possession. That's what I've been taught. But as I do all these 20 years, I'm starting to find my own thing. I've come up with my own theory. No one's doing. My own theory is what I call hauntings now. I don't call it infestation oppression like everybody else. I've come to learn that this is from my own experience stuff. I call this demonic shadowing. Now how I did no one this is the first time I ever spoke about it. When I go into the infestation and the oppression stages, I don't believe the coming stages. All the experts will tell you the coming stages. I don't believe it. Not for one bit. These things are that calculated, they're that perfect, they're so unified, Dave. It's like the CIA, man. These are sergeants, generals, fucking everything, and they all work together. And they all work together. They're more organized than the Catholic Church, put it that way.
Yeah.
So I call this overshadowing. So what I reckon is when you go into a home, they sort of attach to you. They're reading you. They're doing the infestation and the oppression at the same time. Everything works together as a unit. It's not stages. So how by praying, say how I put it down to, I'm trying to, it's, I know in my head what I'm trying to say, it's sounding a bit ridiculous what I'm trying to say. So you watch a horror movie and say the blob, I'm just going to say the
Yeah.
blob. You got all these little blobs all over the place, right? And they're all working together at the same time. But there's one head that's in charge. And if you shoot the head, you kill them all at the same time. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So by you saying a certain prayers in the house to get rid of that one spirit that's in charge, he'll all fall back and back off. You know what I mean? Like, so I call this overshadowing. Overshadowing is weird. It's about demonic attachment, demonic influence. That's what I'm calling overshadowing. That leads to the oppression, and all in stages are happening at the same time. Demonic shadowing is when it's influencing person to watch porn, take drugs, drink, and it's an urge. It's made to feel right. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and it's influencing everything around them. It's influenced their psyche. Every time they hear a noise, it's working off them. It's breaking that person down. It's called demonic shadowing. And I always sat down and thought about religion and priests and exorcists. And I thought about, you hear about priests in the church and they're pedophiles and they're touching children. And I always thought to myself, what would happen? What? And then they're shipped off and stuff. What would happen if, like, what if it was something else? What if it was like demonic shadow number? Something was attached to that priest, influencing that priest, influencing them to do certain things, and they seemed all trained together because they all had them sort of attachments, or are drawn together. You know, the kind of way they can't control. Like, if you look at sort of sex and stuff with them, it's an urge. It's not about love. Religion is love. It's not about love to these people that are doing all this. It's an urge. Does that make sense? I think it's like a sexual urge. So I think it all comes down to demonic shadowing and demonic attachments. I think maybe they need to be spiritually blessed and prayed over as well. As, don't get me wrong, they need to be fired as well, for fuck's sake. But I'm trying to say, is there something darker in the world as well? Is there something working in the background trying to break up families, break up people? Because at the end of the day, there's too much darkness in this world. The devil is winning.
Yeah.
Jesus isn't wanted. You go into bars in LA, and if you mention Jesus, you're told to leave. You know what I mean? Like, we're not wanted. The religion is being pushed out bit by bit by bit, and that is the truth. Look at Peter and Mel Gibson now was standing up to this, and all the Hollywood stars. They've had enough of it. They've had enough of fucking child drinking people. Now they drink children's blood like celebrities are doing it. Like, that's what it all comes down to, you know.
Yeah, that's that thing. That's a very weird one. That
Very.
I have a name for it, but I can't think. But what it is when you torture a child, right? The adrenaline that rushes through the child releasing endorphins into the blood. So basically, they're doing a couple of things. They're sacrificing this child to their religion. Basically, they're drinking the blood as part of a covenant. I can't say it. We drink the blood of Jesus Christ, eat the body. That's what they're doing. To drink the blood of children. They're basically telling God and Jesus to go fuck themselves. You know what I mean? Like, they're sticking together, and they're all doing the project with fucking blood. Man. Keeps them young, gives them a haul, whatever you want to call it. But that's the, what did he call it in American? The golden drink or something. There's a weird word. There's a weird word in it. I don't need the golden something to call it. God, celebrity. That's it. Now you're a celebrity now, and you're not famous, but you're getting there. You get a knock the door from the industry, and they'll offer you 5 minutes. You have to give them your first child and sign a contract, and that's how it's done. Like rapping and all, you don't get contracts now unless you're in with these people, and that's how it goes, you know. It's all over the place, man. Different cults, different sects. You know what I mean? Like, it's fucking everywhere beyond the world, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know? And I don't like getting into conspiracy theories too much, but at the end of the day, every time we turn on Instagram, it's fucking in your face and it's annoying. You know what I mean?
I think
Just show it to you.
Oh yeah.
I think that's a good place to finish for the evening. Because obviously we don't want to keep you all night as well.
But would you come back on and talk more with us, because that was fascinating?
Yeah, no worries. I'll get into if you want to go through some case files the next time.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to get too much. See, the thing with the interviews now, you're trying to get your say out there, but you're trying not to disrespect people.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Like, I have certain things that I'm working on in my head, how to do stuff. I can't explain the best with the demonic channel, but in my head, it's a theory I'm working on, and it's what I'm seeing lately. So if I don't start working on this, you know what I mean? Like, that's how education starts. It might be something there, it mightn't be. It might be just the stages, but if I don't keep looking for different stuff, looking for breaks and seeing what's really happening in the world, you know, that's the truth.
We'll definitely line up another episode, though.
80% of my cases, they're deleted straight away. No arguing. And people are peaceful afterwards. And that's the way it should be. If someone wants a blue moon, you get a dark, it's terrifying. And you don't get them that often, thank God. You know, as we say here, boobies ladia, thank God, you know. We don't get them here, thank God. And one thing I do, like, when I do go to Mass on Sunday and I see people there, I know then there are good people in the world. There are people coming to church. Have a look at every town. Most of the town goes to church. That tells me we have a fucking chance whatever happens in the future. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
That is the truth.
I think though, Gav, will definitely try and line up another episode in a month, a couple of months or so. Give you a bit of a break after this.
Absolutely.
After this one, but want to take the time to thank you for coming on and going through your history as to why you got into it and what your thoughts are on it. And I know you have a Instagram page. It's Irish Demonologist.
Gavin Canavan.
Yeah.
All the hate man's going to come through now.
It's grand. You can send it to me. I'm very good at getting rid of that.
As we always say, we're the complaints department, so
Yeah,
don't be worrying about it.
Yeah,
yeah,
you can find me on Instagram or Facebook. Irish Demonologist Gavin Canavan.
yeah.
But
Lovely.
Instagram, yeah, I'm on the Instagram, and I have a few videos up there, not too much, you know. The thing with Instagram, sometimes you just have to fucking do stuff to keep people interested, you know. It's
Yeah,
nonsense, really. See, these pages I set up, they're set up just to fucking get work.
yeah,
Because I set up a Facebook page just to get work, just to get cases. Because if I don't do it, people are going to get the wrong people helping, and it's going to be a shit show.
Yeah.
And sometimes you feel like you're selling your fucking self, and it's annoying, but you have to keep putting content up to get people. But it's nonsense. It's just a fucking help page. If you want help or advice, it's there. You know.
Well,
excellent.
certainly, as I said, Gav's fairly active on Instagram there. If you need anything to reach out to him and see,
Yeah,
or even just for information, you can find a way. But what I'll do is, King, thanks very much for coming back tonight.
Thank
great
you
to
very
be
much.
back.
It was nice to meet you. Look
Gav,
forward to chatting to you again.
thank you very
Absolutely,
much.
man.
And we'll finish this the way we finished absolutely every single Friday night. In the words of the great George A. Romero, ladies and gentlemen, stay scared.
Woo!